So, loaders. We've got the muck grab on at the minute. As you can see, that spike on the right hand side is a little bit bent. Needs a bit of work, I think. So you've got that grab on. So this one's good for mucking out, moving muck heaps, moving stuff in general is quite good. Wood chip, all sorts. So we've got on the stick here, we've got our side to side movement, moves the grab up and down. The up and down movement moves the whole loader up and down. And then if we press this little button here on the front, so the left button, that one there, and move the stick from side to side, that opens the grab and closes the grab. So those are the main sort of movements we've got there. Now we'll talk about taking it off. So I'm just going to drive forwards a little bit, and I'm going to put it on the ground. Let's have a look. I love hands. The age-old problem. So one actually extra thing that is quite useful to know. If I lift the loader up, you'll see that the bucket itself stays at the same angle, which is quite helpful. So you can level it out at whatever height you want, where you can see it. And then when you lift it up, it'll stay at that height, which is quite helpful, really. So I'm going to make sure it's nice and flat. I'm going to drive a little bit further forwards. Put in gear for that. A little bit forwards. Something like that. And I'm going to lay it on the ground. I'm going to switch the engine off because I'm going to be using the unplug-in hydraulics. So I'm going to turn my engine off. So there's a couple of things we need to use here. One of them is this handle, but I'm going to take my hydraulics off first, so I don't quite know which way around it is. I think that one's there. Ooh, that's very stiff. Release that pressure maybe first. So if it's super stiff, just gone into the cab and I've just wiggled with the engine and everything else off, just wiggled the stick back and forth, press the button, wiggle the stick again. So now it should all be, it's still a two-handed job, but there we go. You can take them off easy enough. This one here, it requires me to pull that and pull the other one, so I'm going to have to pause and do that. There we go. Both hydraulics are off. I'm going to move them out of the way. Let's get them out of the way. Because we don't want to be catching them when we reverse out. And then we're just going to pull this handle back, like that. And now, this loader is pretty much hanging free. So when we back out, if we drop it down, this will just come off from that little hook and we can just drive away. And we'll do the opposite thing. We'll hook that under this one here, and then we'll hook it on. So I'm gonna put the camera to the side actually, so you can kind of see this in action, because it's quite an interesting little technique that it's got. So I'll try and stand my camera up. I apologise if it falls over. Yeah, right, we'll see that. Make sure these hoses are out of the way. I'm clipping them. So I don't know if you saw it there, but as I lifted the loader up, I put the forks up a bit like that, and then I dropped it back down again. Sorry if I do it at the same angle. So I lifted it up, lifted the forks up, and then dropped the whole thing down with the forks quite steep. And what that does is this lever here, which was open in this position, locked open, so you could hook it on, hit this piece of metal here and flicked back over because it's on a spring, and that locks the whole thing in. So it's already locked in, ready to go. Which is, yeah, it's quite handy. You can just sort of drive off then, except we need to put hydraulics on. So it's the same kind of thing. This one obviously goes on that side, and the other one, there it is, goes on the other side. Do that with the engine off, otherwise it might be pressurised and you won't get it on. So engine's off, I'm going to plug it in. So I'm actually not going to plug it in because I'm going to take this straight off, because this is quite a, well, I suppose it's useful for certain things. It's useful for moving bales, and it's useful for unloading pallets. So these little tubes here, they slide off and you've got spikes underneath, which is good for pallets or bales. But I'm going to keep these on because now it's good for moving silage bales without piercing them. So I'm going to switch back over to that one because it's a bit more useful. Actually, I might just leave it off completely. So I'm going to use the handle, pull it back, and lock it in. So yeah, now it's released. I can just drop the loader down and it'll unclip. And you can see what I mean with it lining up with that. When you lift the front up, twist it back a bit, that will hit this and it'll lock it back into that position. There we go. So that's how you swap loaders out.